Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first Women of Substance. We are delighted to have you join us today. My name is Mary Angela Baker, and I am passionate about women in leadership. So the titles that I give myself is that I am a thought leader, I am an educator, and I am an advocate for women and girls.
Hi, Mary Angela and Nancy. I'm excited. It's our first episode. I can't wait to talk to our guest today. I am Annette Johnson. I am a leadership certified professional leadership coach for women, and I advocate for women's issues. And one of my most passionate topics is advocating against domestic violence. And just happy to be a part of Women of Substance and happy to be here today.
Hey, I'm so happy to be with you both today. My name is Nancy Rodriguez Weller, and I am a health advocate, very passionate about global health. I'm also an educator and an athlete. I love to bike ride and love to do a lot of fun things and just enjoy life.
Great. So today for our first topic, we decided to talk about kindness. And I wanted to ask the two of you, why do you think that leadership, kindness, and women of substance are all an appropriate first time topic for us?
Ooh.
You know, I immediately, when you mentioned bringing Grace on to talk about the work that she's done with kindness, I thought she's the perfect first guest for us. What
Yes.
the world needs more of right now is kindness. And when you think about leadership and women of substance, I mean, so from a leadership perspective, absolutely kindness. I mean, that should be a given, a no-brainer, right? But in terms of women of substance and the type of guests that we are planning to talk with, the work that they do is so critical. I can't imagine that kindness wouldn't be a key component of their,
Mhm.
of just who they are as
Right.
a person.
Of their character.
Yeah, of their character, right?
Right.
So advocacy right now, we need a lot of that. And kindness kind of falls into, being an advocate, right? This is a really tough time these days. A lot of struggles with a lot of political issues, a lot of, things that we do need to talk about. So this is a really good first topic.
Right. And if you start with the whole golden rule of do unto others as you would have them
Yeah.
do unto you, I think they're exactly right. During this time of difficult conversations, to keep that in mind and to keep kindness front and center is an important way to begin conversations and continue
Absolutely.
conversations.
Well, wouldn't it be neat if we could have differences of opinion and be on opposite sides, but still be kind?
I think we can do it.
Uh-huh.
That would be
I,
nice to see.
I absolutely think we could do it. So, well, I want to introduce our guest, Grace Foxwell Murdock. She is the Secretary of Kindness. She is the SBY Kindness Commissioner. And I first met Grace when she had just started launching Wicomico Grows Kindness. So, Grace, thank you. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
pleasure and an honor, really, to be among you three women and all that you do for our communities and for women and girls. I'm very delighted to give you my outlook and tell you about what I have going on.
Okay. Well, so first of all, what is Wicomico Grows Kindness?
Wicomico Grows Kindness is the name of my nonprofit, which I had to create because we had so many kindness initiatives going on and there was money flowing out all the time. If there was money coming in, money was flowing out to causes, to people, maybe individuals, to pay for speakers who we've had at schools, to help cover cost of Dance for Kindness. So I had to have a nonprofit, and I actually put it on Facebook to my followers, and they came up with 4 choices, and Wicomico Grows Kindness got the most votes.
And what does that mean when you say that you have this nonprofit? What does that mean?
I seek funding all the time to underwrite the initiatives for the community for events, and I call them community unity events. And it really was an outgrowth of starting Dance for Kindness in 2016, because that's a worldwide flash mob dance. You all learn the same dance. We all dance to the same song. And it put Salisbury on the worldwide kindness map, because Orly Waba of Life Vest Inside created Dance for Kindness. And what happens is it is a gathering of more than 50 countries.
Wow.
I can't even tell you the thousands of people who take part. And because we had that, other things grew out of that. So Wicomico Grows Kindness had to be created because I was under an umbrella of a friend, Martin Hutchison of Community of Joy Church, let me put money out into the community through his nonprofit. But I was kind of pushed into my nonprofit, but it's been wonderful ever since.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm one of your biggest fans.
Thank you.
I just, when I see your videos on social media or when I hear you speak about the work you do, it makes my heart smile. So I just want to let you know I appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you, Annette. And I can tell you it's a journey that I was surprised by and I'm very grateful for. And it has helped certainly helped my psyche during COVID, because we're still doing kindness. And it helped me have a different purpose once I retired in 2011.
Yes. So Grace, how did this come to be? How did this become your purpose?
I want everyone to know that out of great tragedy can come great things. And it was the tragedy of Sandy Hook, where educators and children were lost, excuse me, on December 14th, 2012. My niece happens to live in Sandy Hook, or she did at the time. Her children were not involved, but they had been through that school. And having been retired and missing school, my friends and children, I felt like I was connected to this school. I felt like those teachers were my comrades and those kids were my kids. And I was sort of devastated. And I'm sure I cried with the world. But I called Beth Ann and I said, we've got to think of something to change in time from the tragic thoughts to hope, to thoughts of hope. And I was fortunate enough, I got thinking about kind acts, and I found on the internet how to bead a bracelet where you could move the beads to count kind acts, and at night push them back and reflect on your day. And I made some after I went through several prototypes. I made some and sent them to Beth, maybe a dozen. I wish I could have sent 1,000. And out of that, people started buying them, my family and friends, that's who you tap first. And out of that, then people started asking for them. And I started a little business called Kindness Bracelet, the Original. And so with this funding, I thought, what am I going to do with this money? It wasn't going to pay my car payment or my house payment. So I thought, I know, I'll be a tiny little Melinda Gates and be a philanthropist. So I started sending out checks for $25 or $50 to people mostly who were traveling to Baltimore for treatment. And I sent a note with it and I said, this is from your community, because all my supporters who had bought bracelets, I wanted them to be a part of it. And I said, you can buy ice cream, you can get a manicure, anything you want to do with this. I just want you to know that there are people who care about you.
Wow.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, there was a post. I want to show you my friend, Mr. Rogers. There was a post on Facebook that also helped me. And of course, he has to talk.
Think of all kinds of helpers in our world.
So his mother told him when he was a little boy that whenever there was a tragedy to look for the helpers. And I was compelled, I was led, and I feel that I was tapped on the shoulder by the Almighty to say, hey, pay attention. You can do this. So I'm blessed. I really am.
Grace, can you imagine if we all thought that way, like turned something negative into something so positive?
And Listen, anyone can do this. If people will just pay attention, if they see an issue or a problem, we've seen it in the streets this year more than ever. And the peaceful protesting and the women marching and PFLAG, all of it. When you see something that you feel that there is a reason for a change, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I have met the most wonderful people online all across the world who are doing similar projects. So when people see me, I don't even want them to see me. I just want them to see what can be done and the joy of an act of kindness, a smile, being respectful, being gracious. Not even, it doesn't have to be big. You know, listen, that $25 check did as much for me as I'm sure when Bill Gates and Melinda decided to cure, which disease was it? Malaria. So yeah, I'm living in that latitude of thinking and of heart.
Well, what does that mean to be a designated city of kindness?
Well, World Kindness Movement started
how do you measure that?
Yeah, it started in 1997 in Tokyo because they were trying to make, they wanted to reach out to the world to show that they were a kind community. So they started this group of people called the World Kindness Movement, which is still alive and well today. And they developed 10 kindness performance indicators that if a city completed all 10, then you would get a designation, World Kindness City. And we are the second in the world. And I went to Jake.
Wow.
I always go to Jake first before I start some
Our
of these
mayor.
crazy schemes. And I said, do you want to go for this? Because, you know, Salisbury's rising, we're vibrant. There's a lot of activity. People are doing wonderful things. He said, yeah, let's go for it. Took us 2 years, 2 years. The first thing was that the city council had to sign unanimously a resolution that said they would consider kindness whenever they did any council work. Because if it's not written down, it will not happen.
Wow.
And
that's
then
a
after,
big commitment.
you're not kidding. And I mean, I was just flying high with that. And if that wasn't enough, then the school board signed it, the Board of Education. And then the county council signed it.
And you know, the work you do, it's timeless, right? There's always going to be, you know, something that happens either globally or in our local community where, you know, us being kind to one another is going to be important to get us through. So if you think about this year, even with the pandemic, you know, this was something that was already put in place so that, you know, the city is prepared
right
at all times to be able to think about, you know, some of the solutions and remedies that they want to put in place and keep kindness front and center of that.
Right.
So that's amazing.
Great fun.
Yeah, and kindness is interesting because when someone is kind to you, the impact you can't even describe sometimes, because it could be just a tiny little thing that can change your whole day, change your perspective, and moving forward. And the kindness could be something as simple as, you know, being at a conference and feeling all alone and someone coming up and say, you know, and chatting with you and introducing themselves so that you're not feeling like you're the only one alone.
That's right. There's all kinds of science behind kindness. We're wired to be kind from birth. We have a vagus nerve. I know a little bit of science about this whole thing. We have this vagus nerve. It's really two that follow down your neck through and touches all your major organs. And if we keep that vagus nerve healthy, that's why they say kindness will help you live a longer life, a happier one. And it's true. It's science-based. Oxytocin, endorphins, they're all released when you do a kind act. If you watch How the Grinch Stole Christmas and he sees what he has done to Whoville, and when he rolls down that mountain and takes Christmas back to Whoville, that's what kindness does for you, even though it might be the smallest little act, thinking beyond yourself.
Well, I have to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nancy.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask Grace, do you have a story that you want to share that where someone did something extraordinary in kind?
Yes, well, listen, it's happening in our community right now.
Mhm.
What I have found is extraordinary during COVID
Mhm.
is the amount of people who have come forward to help others. And I can't speak enough about Michelle Ennis and community mediation. I think that's how you say it, and how she's brought all the concerns together to help the underserved communities. And she has brought everyone on board. We even have Dominique Sessa. Do you know that name, anybody? Dominique, her dad has the ice cream truck that's around town, Mr. Softy, I think. And she's a young woman who is in a wheelchair, and she watches these weekly meetings of for the underserved, and she does things. If she can do that, she does things to
Wow.
connect the people with translators and resources, and she's posting on Facebook all the time. I mean, you can't hold a candle to some of these people who have come from the food distributions. Martin Hutchison is at Pinehurst. I mean, they're every one-stop shop. Mark Thompson, that, Nancy, blows me away daily of how people have come out to do
awesome.
this for our community. And I feel that this will be the norm. Even when this is over, people will remember what it felt like, how it was needed, and they will have opened avenues of giving and connections, making network connections with people, that we will always have these resources from now on. And if that can be a positive out of COVID, I'll take it.
I just wanted to share, I had a couple of experiences. I met you about a year and a half ago, and started really being deliberate about random acts of kindness. And I would do something simple, maybe buy somebody a cup of coffee, or I would hold the door open and, for someone to walk through, just small things. But I was out in the community once, and I was at a Dunkin' Donuts, and a gentleman walked in. It was a Tuesday, and he said, "Happy Tuesday, everybody." And he said, "Coffee's on me."
Oh,
Wow.
Oh.
Everybody in the Dunkin', and people were looking like, "Is he serious? Is he for real?" Like, it was almost like, is this one of those like camera shows? Are we all like, punked somehow?
right.
And another was my husband and I, we had took my brother-in-law out to dinner, who was dealing with some really serious illnesses. And we were just sitting in a corner having dinner, and we got ready to pay the check, and the waiter said, "Your meal has been paid for."
Oh,
And I'm
Oh.
like, "Why, who? Like, who would just pay for our dinner?" And he said it was a gentleman that was sitting over there, and he just said, "I'm checking out. I want to add their
Nice.
So it made me, going through those experiences, like, I love to put a smile on people's face. So I love to be able to do that. And I thought, I'm going to do this. I mean, I might not be able to pay for dinner every time I go to a restaurant, but buying somebody a cup of coffee or holding the door for somebody, I think, it means more to me to see that smile on their face than what it meant for me to get that free dinner and cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Wow.
and Annette, you're right. We benefit from kindness in 3 ways: giving it, receiving it, and just witnessing it.
Yes.
So if the whole thing about Dance for Kindness was that there is a freeze mob at the beginning of each time, where Orly said, "Just stand and think about kindness." And people were in freeze holds, like shaking hands, helping somebody tie a shoe, hugging, which I miss desperately. But it was the intentional part of thinking about kindness. And that's what makes you realize. And as soon as you start those things, you'll see more of it.
Yes.
You witness kindness after kindness that you would have maybe missed if you had not ever started on your own, Annette. Those are great stories. I love that.
So Grace, I know it sounds like one of the challenges that you have is financial funds. So if money was not an obstacle,
Mhm.
what would you be top of your list of saying, I would like to be able to do these initiatives?
Right now, what I would love to be happening is when these one-stop and food distributions are being done, I
Mhm.
would like books to be going with that food.
Mm.
I would like for books to be sent home to these kids. I know there are homes, sadly, without books in them. And the library is too difficult for people to get to. I doubt the bookmobile is moving. I don't know that it is or not. But I would love to say, and we have books today. Do you have children in your home that you would like to receive these books? And I have thought about writing to Dolly Parton with Imagination Library. I've thought there are other stars who do things with literacy, Oprah, you know, but they're very hard to get to. What's that, Annette?
Do it, Grace. Do
I know.
Do it,
They're,
do it.
they're very hard to reach. I won't mention any names, but there was a star who said, be kind to one another every day, that I sent kindness bracelets to 2 different times. And I thought, well, you've had your chance. You know, somebody enjoyed some bracelets, but I don't think she ever received them.
I don't know, Grace. I had a vision of you sitting in that chair across from Oprah, being
Oh,
interviewed about your kindness work. So
That would be a thrill.
ready.
That would be a thrill.
Nancy and Annette, I'm going to put you on the spot. What would you, if you had money to make the world more kind, what would you do?
Oh, I would create a home for shelter for women and children who are victims of domestic violence. So I would love to have a home that's fully staffed with all types of services to create some transitional housing for women. So I don't know, 12 months, 18 months, I don't know what the appropriate time is, but during that whole stay, they would be prepared and equipped and educated and trained on how to move out on their own. And they'd be given all the tools and some startup funds to be able to do that.
And a support
And a support system.
Yes.
Right, right.
I would love to do, like, if I ever hit the lottery, that's what I would do.
Nice. How about you?
That's
No,
wonderful.
I would probably set up a clinic somewhere where people could get free health care and be provided education on, you know, disease states and things like that. I've actually done that. I've done that in other countries such as Nicaragua and Guatemala and Peru. And I absolutely love doing that. You know, where you just roll up your sleeves and help people who don't have the means to get the health care that they need. And it's so rewarding, absolutely rewarding.
Yeah. So Grace, how can people be involved in a kindness movement? If someone is watching this in the middle of the United States, in Missouri or in North or South Dakota, and say, I want to have a kindness initiative, what would you say the first thing they should do is?
I would say just start on their own personal level and get a feel for it, and pay for the person behind you in the checkout line, you know, in the coffee line, and hold doors for people. And I would also start reading. I would go on TED.com and look for talks on kindness. When I started this in 2012 maybe, I looked for kindness talks. There were 4.
Wow.
When I looked in 2016, because I did a TEDx talk, the only one they've held in Salisbury, I was on there with Martin Hutchison. He did community gardens and I did kindness. There might have been 10. Well, now there's a plethora of them, because as soon as celebrities get on kindness, and as soon as you see that in some initiatives of statesmen and stateswomen, they speak about kindness, it gets big. But I would say do research and then just start. Talk with your community people who you know are the leadership. Talk with your United Way and the people who you already know are committed to kindness by giving in your community. And there will be a group of people who want to join you. You will light that spark under people, and it will just start rolling.
Grace, actually, coincidentally, I was at that TED Talk.
You were, Nancy?
Yes, and it's the first time I ever met you.
Oh my glory.
Yes,
Oh,
years ago, and that made such a big impression on me.
Kindness in Action, it was
it's,
called.
yes, it was very, very inspirational.
Well, I've got to tell you a little selfish thing I did was I wanted my grandchildren to remember me. And I knew that once you're on the internet, you're always on the internet. So that's how I got my kindness message to my grandchildren, because now once in a while they'll call me and say, "Hey grandmom, I told my social studies teacher that you had a TEDx talk on kindness." And I said, "Okay." So it worked.
I have one more question if we have time.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, what is your biggest takeaway from this work that you do? Obviously, you love what you do. It puts a big smile on your face. But if you could say one thing that this has done for you, as you know, personally, what would it be?
Connections with people. It's the people who, when I'm thinking, what else are we going to do? Or we've done it all, or I'm bugging people, I'll call one of my kindness people, one in Arizona or one in Maine, and I'll say, what's up with you? Because sometimes kindness can feel a little bit obligatory. When you get so caught up in it, you've got to do it. You've got to keep going. But the people that I've met and the people who are so grateful when they receive kindness, Annette, it is unbelievable. And also I learned a very important lesson that I wish I had known in 1989. I lost a husband to cancer, and I was a full-time school teacher, and I had 3 children, and I have wonderful family around me. I grew up in Princess Anne, and my mom was still alive, and I had everybody who surrounded me. And I kept saying, "I've got this. I'm good. I'm okay. I'll get through this." I did not know how to receive kindness. So what I learned and have carried through my whole journey of this is how to receive it when it's given back.
Wow.
And that was a hard lesson. I wish I'd had that years ago, because I didn't realize that kindness done by other people for you is helping them heal, and it helps them feel better. And I was just,
Wow, that's an incredible message.
That's a powerful, powerful message and a powerful lesson.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect way to wrap us up. So Women of Substance, we are what, so what, and now what. So for the now what, we want to talk about resources. So if you want to learn more about kindness, you want to learn more how to become more kind in your daily activities, obviously the random act of kindness that you spoke about. And we have the, like you say, if you go into Amazon and just Google the word kindness, 30,000 titles will pop up. So lots of readings that you can do. Any other resources?
I would say randomactsofkindness.org. Life Vest Inside is Orly Waba's website. She has daily kindness messages for everyone. She has weekly kindness. She has a book called Kindness Boomerang. And her whole thing was that once you give kindness, it will come back to you. So she has a 365-day book, Kindness Boomerang, which is a wonderful gift to give to people. And I have read many books, and what I would gather from each one of them is a message to just do it.
Yeah, very much.
Grace, I want to give you a big hug.
Oh, I want it so much from all of you.
Well, thank you for being our first guest. It's absolutely the perfect launch for the Women of Substance series.
Thank you so much. And if you need another hour, just ring me up.
All right.
And if there's anything that we can do to support you on your journey, or if you see opportunities for us to get involved, please let us know. I can't say enough how much I admire you and the work that you do, and how inspired I am
Absolutely
by the work you do.
If you go out and be kind, all 3 of you, I've done my job.
Hey, you got it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace.
Thank you.